since 1992. I voted Libertarian in 96.
Well, it sounds like you've been smoking cigarettes for 40 years. You should vote Trump and go to the gym, fatty.
Oh, personal attacks. We've lowered it down now. We've gone to the bottom. So, yeah, all right. So, the thing is, I don't even know who's talking here because I can't keep an eye on the screen. So, a lot of weird.
There's still January 6th people that Trump set up on purpose who are rotting in a dungeon right now with African jail guards who are beating the shit out of them.
Do you think he set them up on purpose?
Yes.
Based on what?
1,000%. Based on everything he did that day. You gotta remember what happened that day. That was the day he was supposed to come out and fucking tell the truth. And he fucking...
Which was?
The election was about fucking the deep state. You know, he was supposed to come out and fucking... Dude,
yeah, and then that's why I think that before he was even done speaking so that they can thwart what he was supposed to do. I don't think that he sent them over there on purpose. I have a lot of issues with Trump today, but I remember exactly how everything went down. And so January 6th was an attack on America, period. The fact that, you know, we are so subverted that we can't see that. So the problem, that's the thing. Like, he did not set them up. They were set up, but we can't keep doing this where we give it to everybody else, but the people that we should really be giving it to. So I will say that's not what happened.
Yeah, I mean, he should have marked them. I believe that he should have done that. But I definitely don't think he set them up. I don't believe they did not set him up. He did not set them up to do it. I don't believe that. Because they had the choice to walk in, walk out, go to the Capitol. Who even knew was going to make it to the front row? You can't, like, just get past all those people in a crowd like that. Like, the chances of being in the front or being first to the thing or, you know, getting in the building or not getting in the building, that's all up in the air. You don't know that that's going to happen. You can't set, or you just want to set up a certain number of individuals or fun.
Hey, you guys, come on inside.
Exactly. But which guys? Which guys, though? Not the guys that you specific. No, I'm just saying you can't set up specific people. He doesn't control them like robots, you know, and didn't know exactly where they were going to go. He didn't know what was their cutoff point, was how far they would take it. He didn't know if they were going to go in the building. He didn't know if they're going to get violent.
Of the deepest.
He wasn't even there, so like...
Yeah, and like you're saying, he was speaking when they were already starting the riot with Ray Epps and those people. Why wouldn't he tell them, then go down, and now we're going down there, and we're going to show them what? They were already starting the violence before he even finished, so I don't really want to get bogged down in that. I don't believe that. I don't think anybody does, really, but I think he's definitely hanging them out to dry a little bit, but at this point he can't do anything. He's not president. However, he does say, and I do believe he'll probably pardon most of the nonviolent ones when he gets in, so, yeah.
He was.
Here we got Batgirl. Is that Batgirl just jumping in?
Yeah, that was me. Let me just make this point real quick, because I see it says World War II, and I heard a little bit what you were saying. I have no personal beef with Trump. Trump opened my eyes to a lot of the lies with our media and everything else. I was told to hate Donald Trump because he's racist, blah, blah, blah. You know the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then I realized in 2020, all the way in 2020, what was going on. And then, fully supported and everything, told everybody to vote for him, but here we are today. The problem is, while he's been gone, that deep state, what I call the Israel lobby, I don't call it the deep state, I call it what it is, the Israel lobby, has gotten bigger or whatever, or I don't know, more loyal to Israel, whatever. We weren't in these positions because...
Are we just more aware of it now?
No, because even before I knew the name of whatever it was, I said I already knew by 2022, by 2023.
Do you even know what the biggest lobbies are in D.C.?
Yeah, if I could just finish my thoughts, sir, I'm not here to argue with you. I'm not here to convince you. You can think I'm crazy. I don't care.
Well, I mean, it's a reasonable question. We can get to that here in a second. I think
I'm not, listen. I was sold an American dream. I vote for my elected officials. Yet my elected officials are so bought and paid for, yes, by the Israel lobby, where we use our troops and send them over to the Middle East, and they died for Israel. This is not a conspiracy, guys. This is noted. This is documented. Clean break memo. The Israel lobby book. John Mearsheimer. I mean, my God, I could go on. Okay, the fact that anybody thinks that this is...
Well, can I say something real quick? Let me just say something real quick. All I know is
Damn, I can't hear Matt. What you say?
After seeing Netanyahu show up and how he was like just completely worshipped, like unbelievable levels of worship by the House and the Senate. It was unbelievable. It was so sickeningly gross. They would like bow and scrape and just lick his shoes was the level that they were going to. It was so disgusting that if I was Netanyahu...
But it's the character of the people in Congress, not Netanyahu. They're the scum. Our Congress is the shit. Maybe Netanyahu's great, but we know Congress sucks. We're $35 trillion in debt because those fucking pieces of shit.
Netanyahu's great. You see what I'm saying? Y'all be so scared.
How is Netanyahu great? Well, are you serious?
I'm serious. The Congress sucks. The Senate sucks. $35 trillion in debt. We should skin them. We should skin them alive. We should attack the Capitol again and bury these bastards.
He's speaking right now.
Dude, I'm trying to figure the fuck out, Matt. Listen, I'm co-hosting, and there's only on my screen that girl, Luke, Claude, and Matt, and I don't know who this other dude keeps yapping on about. I don't know who this dude is, but I think I'm rugged.
I mean, I appreciate that he has a point. It's not Adrian. Not Adrian Dittman.
Adrian's the Zionist guy.
Adrian's
But
not
so,
either.
yeah, he is. On mine, I can see him.
Well, that's fucked up. How am I co-host and Adrian says listener?
I don't know, man. Last time I couldn't even get a co-host on here, so I mean, spaces are weird sometimes. I don't know if they have it, like, that they're formulating that weird or not. But, yeah, I mean, honestly, I hear this point, but to say that Netanyahu's good is just completely ridiculous. And then just say that, oh, well, we need to attack our capital again. That's basically, you know, there's a setup. Like, that's like a Fed type thing to say. I'm not saying that he has no point. I'm just saying getting on a space and what are we all going to say? Yes, let's do it. Let's write a plan. Let's start doing. I mean, it just makes no sense. Like, hey, that's not what this space is about. But I hear the frustration, but then when you add on to it that Netanyahu is a great dude, then I just completely think you lose all credibility at that point in the game. So, if he's got to go, he's got to go. Whatever. I don't know. I'm okay with him. But, I mean, like, you can't just, like, come in and just, like, yelling over everyone else. It's not like we're arguing with you and you got heated. You come in just screaming at everyone. That's, like, I don't get it. But anyway.
Go back home to mommy.
Is that you again?
Yeah, that's him.
I don't understand why this girl can't
Just vote Trump and go to the gym, fatties. It's that simple.
Yeah, so see.
This is just total development. We can't have a.
So is that you, Adrian, not Adrian Dittman, that's just yelling? Yes or no?
This is a Groyper war. I'm here to tell you to vote Trump and vote Kennedy and go to the gym, fatties.
Oh, are you, as a Groyper, you're saying that?
I'm a Jewish Groyper Zionist from the heart of Israel, here to tell you to vote Trump and vote Kennedy and go to the gym, fatties.
I mean, if it's a troll, it's funny. It's funny. It's all good. I'm not gonna like cry about it. It's funny, but it's getting a little.
As a Zionist, we need strong partners in America. We need Macha. Make America healthy again.
We do. We definitely do. And I mean, don't you think it's weird that food doesn't exist in food anymore? Like, how did that happen? I mean, you look at Germany had the beer purity laws. You know, where you couldn't call it beer unless it had certain ingredients. So how can you have like food that isn't food? Like, how can there be food on the shelf?
Talk to Bill Gates. Bill Gates is a Zionist.
He's a fatty. He needs to get to the gym.
You need some watermelon.
Well, that would probably help him lose weight. You know, very low calories.
No,
Not the diet. Not the diet.
Yeah. So is Vance? What is Vance? Is Vance good? He's good too, right? Vance is good, and then go to the gym. Should Vance go to the gym or just take more Ozempic? What do you think?
Vance needs to go to the gym.
I see men doing bench press on Ozempic, and they literally splatter the bench press with diarrhea. They shit their brains out as they lift the weights. Americans are getting healthy again.
Yeah.
Nice.
Maha.
Okay. So, are we trying to, are you are a goiper then? Apparently, you're in the goiper war, you're making fun of the goipers.
I'm a veteran from the Kekistani wars. I'm a survivor from the Kekistani concentration camps.
Okay. Well, I give you some respect for that. You guys went through a lot. Appreciate that. But I'm just not sure that the inciting is a good plan right now this late.
I'm sorry. Let me let that racist little black national girl continue on her APAC rant. Sorry, sweetheart. Continue talking about the Zionists. Proceed.
Some people, their minds are like,
yeah, it's like I don't mind it being funny and ridiculous, but like burning everybody's eardrums out is a little bit annoying. So I'm driving right now, so we'll just had a good time. You made your point, whatever it was. So yeah, we'll bump them down. Thanks for playing.
I guess I just really wanted to say that they are bringing something very important to light that. I think this time around he's not as free to do what he wants, and I guess I just really wanted to say that they are bringing something very important to light that. I think this time around he's not as free to do what he wants, and I think it's cool to make demands of your person, because if you don't make them now, when are you going to make them? You know, when they get in, like. They're already in, right? So I think it's cool to make demands, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it at all. You know, it says a lot. So I don't think it's a bad thing. And he's not saying it like he's against Trump.
Well, there's the thing. So he wants them basically. He's like, oh, you need to like pander more to white nationalists, to people who, basically. I just foresee that if he's going to win, if you believe that there are such a thing as elections, if you believe that some votes get counted somewhere along the line, if you believe that there is such a thing as too big to rig, then at that point you think to yourself, how on God's earth can he win? So mostly his base generally tends to be people that believe Trump will be good for the border, people that believe Trump will not be in wars, people that already know this based on his past performance. So as he's trying to round the groups up at the end, and I mean that to vote for him, not to get rid of them, he's going to need, if you want him to win, if you see that as a possible path forward that could be a victory for us, then how is he going to do it if he alienates the alternate voters? Trump, Nick says, wait one second. So Nick's theory is like, oh, his numbers are going down because he's not pandering enough to white Americans or whatever, right Americans. Those people aren't going away from Trump. They're not going to not vote for Trump unless Nick says so. So the reality is here's my analogy. If you're having a family reunion, it's Christmas, right? You got a big family, and you got a couple of brothers. They like snowboarding. They want to take all the people up to the mountains so they can go snowboarding. So the three brothers get together and they say, hey, let's go snowboarding. And they can't get everybody to agree on it because there's a fat guy and he's like, I don't really want to go to the mountains. So like, oh, there's this restaurant up there. It's so amazing. He's like, oh, really? It's like, yeah, we'll buy you dinner. You come along. So he's on now. And the other guy's like, no, I think I'm just going to sit around the house and drink. He likes drinking. They're like, oh, this bar up there? Oh, my God, happy hour, off the hook. Tell you what, I'll buy some beers. And then now he's going. After the time, you get a few. Now, because some more people are going, some of the weaker people, they're like, yeah, okay, let's go to the mountains. We'll do the snowboarding trip after all. But the problem is they don't have a car because they're in from out of town. Grandma's got the only four-wheel drive. Grandma's like, I'm not lending you guys the car. So I said, I'll tell you what, Grandma, we're going to mow your lawn. They're out mowing Grandma's lawn. And then Grandma lets them. So by the end of the thing, you got people saying, why are we mowing Grandma's lawn? I thought we were going on a snowboarding trip. It's because what the people who are going on the snowboarding trip are already going. They're the ones who are guaranteed to go to the trip, who want to go to the trip, who like the trip, who like Trump, who wanted to vote for him in the first place. The other people are the people we're trying to convince to jump in the car to get the trip going. Otherwise, the trip's off and nobody goes to the fucking mountains. If anyone can understand that, I hope you can. So anyway, go ahead.
Leave Mount Rushmore, but we need to get another mountain. But Trump, Kennedy, General Flynn on there, and maybe somebody else. Well, I guess Steve Bannon or something. But I'll yield there. Thanks for having me up. Great space. God bless you all. God bless Kennedy. God bless Trump, and God bless America. Let's get our country back.
Before we go to the next speaker, everybody who's listening right now, I'd greatly appreciate if you retweet this space. It's how we grow as a community. It's how we get more people on board, especially people that haven't heard from us and stuff like that. RFK supporters, more people. We're one big 10 party, and let's grow this party as much as possible. Thank you, guys.
Wow.
Thank you. Hey, Ed, one thing I'll say real quick in response to Adam.
Beautiful.
You were saying about the Rittenhouse thing, and Oki will appreciate this. I told a bunch of my MAGA friends that were, kind of down on him. I was like, look, if I would have got to meet Ron Paul in person in my 20s, I wouldn't have been voting for anybody but Ron Paul. So, it's just the way it would have been. But, so I have Eddie. You're up next. Go ahead, Eddie.
Funny you should mention that. That's part of one of the big things I need to speak about. So, first part is, thank you. Great space that you guys have been running here for the last couple of days. I was here the night that RFK announced that he was stepping down or merging with Trump, and there was a lot of broken-hearted people. And let me say this to everybody who was in this space, and even now, I feel your pain. I felt that exact pain in 1992 when I voted for Perot, and he lost. We got 20% of the vote, but I feel that pain. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see Kennedy go all the way to the end, and he had his wings clipped by the DNC. So, fast forward to 2016, change venues, different man. I initially did not support Trump, and there was a reason. I thought he was crass. I thought he was an asshole. I didn't like the way he talked to the other candidates. I didn't like the way he carried himself in public.
Go down to the location for it.
Girl from Ipanema goes a-walking on the clown house days with Whoopi Goldberg. She's a little trans and gay, but that's okay.
We have a Michelin Jew, a endangered species.
I'm a 5-star Michelin.
I like when you call yourself a Michelin Jew. This is your national anthem.
Pray for money, pray for kingdoms, the Kaiser Kingdom, the Kaiser Kingdom.
You know that's the Michelin Jewish song for Hanukkah. That's what they sing, the Michelin Jews. They sing this for Hanukkah.
Ribono Shalom. Ribono Shalom. There was a time when people ran the Middle East, ran Europe. It was known as the Khazarian Empire. My great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, Grandfather Khazarius, he was king of the Khazarian people, and I am a descendant of this great Khazarian caste, and I will return to Israel soon to reclaim our lost kingdom.
Hi, who are you, Melissa? Oh my God, bonsoir, comment ça va, madame? Oh, bonjour!
Savannah.
Ese es el Capara, ese es Matt, ese es Adrián, ese es Joy, y ese son judíos. Sí,
From judíos. You know what judíos means, you Jews? No. No, it means Jews.
Guys, sorry for the noise. Sorry. How are you guys?
Very good. Where's Melissa from? She's from California. She's from Florida. Bonsoir. Bienvenue, Paris. She's Lady Gaga.
Consi, compa.
Oh my God. I said, voulez-vous parlez-vous espagnol? What?
Mikasa, I'm coming to Damascus. I want to come inside to Syria with you. And the Barishwe Arabi, let's go to Damascus, everyone. Why don't we do a clubhouse field trip?
Angel has been looking for somebody like you.
Oh, sorry, Monsignor, what did you say?
Looking for a travel agent who does just what you do.
Who is Angel?
Her name is Angela.
She's a Pakistani refugee from Germany that somehow came to America.
Yes, guys, come, Adrian, come, join the trip.
Yeah, oh my God, I want to go to France.
For the next group in Syria, I have one Canadian guy and 4 people from the UK. So if you want to join, just
Can you
come.
book sex tourism?
What?
I'm sorry, that's for Ryan, not for me.
Of course, we always have sex tourism. If you don't have sex tourism, that's not traveling.
I want a Parisian man that doesn't like cigarettes because I'm asthmatic.
No, I was in Iran in October. Oh my God, Iran is
Salon
hot.
Chateau Couvy.
They are so hot. Oh my God.
Girl, I'm surprised you didn't came back with a hijab.
Sorry?
I said, I'm surprised you didn't come back with a burqa and a hijab.
No, they don't. Come on, guys. Please be open-minded.
Honey, I would go to Iran if it was 1970 before the revolution.
No, come. I will organize a trip in Iran. You know, it was one of my best country ever. You know, every people who go to Iran, they want to travel many times in Iran. It's amazing. Oh my God, this country and people from Iran.
I like her accent. She reminds me of a tour guide.
Sorry?
You sound like a tour guide. Un turista.
With my French accent, do you like it?
Yes, you do. You sound like the Statue of Liberty comes to life. You talk like the Statue of Liberty.
So guys, where are you all from?
I'm from California.
No, you're not from California. Where are you from, Jigaboo, honestly?
California.
No, fuck you. You're from Puerto Rico.
Hell no, I ain't no black person. If I am, I'm Mexico.
You're from Puerto Rico.
No, Mexico.
Melissa, he's from California.
I'm Mexique.
Where are you from, Matt?
We're calling her Melissa because we're just going to go with that.
Who's the Elon Musk?
Mikasa.
Who's Elon Musk follow?
What is to be noticed and what is not to be noticed. That's why children ask sometimes very odd questions about things that adults don't notice. The famous story of the little boy who has been taken to a concert where a lady is singing, and he says, "Mama, why does she scream when she yawns?"
That was our wedding day.
Nice.
Very
What do you think about Ross Ulbricht? Do you know about him? Ross Ulbricht?
You don't know about him.
Hold up. Let me Google it.
Hold up.
Ross Ulbricht?
Yeah.
ULBRICHT?
Maybe just ICT?
Yeah, freeross.org.
Yeah. So do you know what he did? We could tell you. Honey, why don't you tell him what he did? You know more than me.
Well, do you know of the Silk Road website that was on the dark web?
Yeah, he made it, right?
Right. He was like a founder.
God bless him.
But he wound up getting arrested, and the whole libertarian movement has been trying to get his sentence commuted because they gave him life. They sentenced him to life for, running this website. So the whole libertarian movement was, holding up their signs during their convention. And when Trump went to that convention, he announced that he supports that cause.
Well, Bobby did too. Bobby said that he would free him too.
Yeah. And I just never understood it. I mean, life does sound extreme, but you got to think of, if he's dealing, he's not the one who was dealing it, but he enabled people on the Silk Road website to sell drugs, to sell weapons, and supposedly he tried to hire for 6 different murders from hitmen, and one of the hitmen was a DEA agent. So I just don't know. I kind of feel like he shouldn't just have his sentence commuted. So I always thought it was like they were going to try to set Trump up and say, oh, look, Trump's for it, and it's not right. And then Trump would have to backtrack on it. I've never heard of this guy before the libertarian movement was...
Does he have anything to do with child pornography or human trafficking of children?
I'm not sure if that was on the website.
So here's my take. I think that I don't have enough information. Okay? So I'm going to confess to I don't have enough information.
The town hall. I think it was NBC.
No, that's a separate
I
event.
believe it was NBC who said that she wanted people in, as according to NBC, they posted it this morning. I don't sleep much, so I don't know what time typically is. But anyways, it read that, I'm trying to find it again real quick, but it read that she requested that if she does a debate with Trump, that she wants to have people in there that she will allow to ask questions against Trump. Specifically, made sure that was the wording. And apparently someone from his campaign said that they were not okay with that. But that's something that
they shouldn't be okay with that. And that's if she keeps throwing up this bullshit, all these different parameters, then he should just walk away. And then I agree with Civic, then don't do it. The only thing he should agree to...
Yeah, but then the media comes out and saying, he was scared, he ran out of the debate. You know how that goes, Steve, right?
Well, they can try, but, you can't stack it up that much against him. It's enough that it's on ABC, and that's it. That's all he should agree to. And like I said, they tried to push him with the CNN debate to make it a sit-down debate, and his campaign pushed back and said, no, we're not going to do that. And Biden's team said, okay, well, we won't push on that. So
yeah, because
there has to be negotiation.
There has to be another one. Right.
Well, another debate?
They're gonna do just one, I bet you.
And that's what I'm looking
Only
at.
one. It's
You
the
wouldn't
same.
agree. And there has never been a president elected where there's only one debate. I'm looking at his timeline.
Yeah, like so far,
There's usually 3 debates.
Yeah.
there's usually 3, right?
So
Biden
if
agreed to
Trump
2.
gives the
That's
ABC one,
insane.
they have to get at least, you would think, 2 more. Like, that's what the people need.
Civic, that's insane if they're gonna bypass like 100 years of tradition.
No, they're gonna
It's
try.
insane.
They're gonna absolutely try, for sure, to make this the only debate if they can get it.
Yeah, we'll be lucky if we get one more debate after this one. You know, we'll be lucky if we get one more.
I have a little bit of breaking news. So, America First Policy Institute just had an interview on Fox. This was after the UN ambassador spoke. So I'll find that clip, but I just want to play this really quickly.
In reaction to the escalation in the Middle East, let's bring in America First Policy Institute Senior Advisor Jacob Olador. Jacob, welcome.
Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you for having me.
What's your reaction to what you heard there from Ambassador Dannon?
Absolutely. This is arguably the most escalatory moment on Israel's northern border since October 7th or 8th, when it wasn't clear how far Hezbollah would go. And as the ambassador mentioned, were it not for those preemptive actions by Israel, this could have been much worse. And so we should acknowledge the scale of this. But to me, I think this is really a message to the United States more than it is to Israel. And I say that not so much because of the scale, but rather the timing of this attack. If you step back a little bit, this is not a war that Iran or its proxies expected or were planning for. They didn't, and they certainly don't want to be fighting on behalf of Hamas, which
That's interesting.
So they've been messaging publicly that once there's a ceasefire in Gaza, they will put their guns down, if they're to be believed.
Right.
And and as we know, Hezbollah delayed its response to the Shukr assassination because of the ceasefire talks. Now it's interesting that the negotiators are meeting in Cairo this week, and Hezbollah chooses this moment to launch what it calls the beginning of its attack. So I think that's a direct message on the way the Biden administration has been looking at the region more broadly.
I want to play for you what the Biden administration's message has been to the regime in Tehran. I'll get you to react to it.
What is your message to Hezbollah and its backer, Iran? Don't. Don't.
To any actor, state or non-state, trying to take advantage of this crisis to attack Israel. Don't. And what's the message to Iran? Don't.
Does don't work with a regime like Tehran?
Well, it certainly did work on October 18th, October 8th, those early days, but they need to say a little bit more. It's noteworthy that Biden officials are now saying that they'll stand with Israel in its self-defense. They won't go further than that. And this morning, the U.S. provided intelligence reportedly on the positions for Israel's preemptive strikes. They didn't participate in them. Mm-hmm. And I think that epitomizes the nature of the U.S. involvement in any regional approach here. If I were to step back a little bit, Iran and its proxies are looking at how Biden is engaging on the ceasefire talks themselves. Mm-hmm. And if you look at last week as an example, it's a perfect microcosm of this administration's approach there. They offer a deal, Israel accepts it, Hamas rejects it, and then Biden calls Netanyahu to concede a part of their conditions, which are a major security need that they have there. And so Iran and its proxies take that cue that they can go forward and move ahead with escalatory actions.
Today, Senator Bernie Sanders is calling for pressure on the Netanyahu government. Let's play that.
Yeah, I hope very much that the conclusion that will be reached is that Netanyahu and his right-wing extremist government, which has received tens of billions of dollars of aid from the U.S., should not continue to receive that aid unless there is a radical change in their policies to the people, to the Palestinian people in Gaza and in the West Bank, by the way.
Is that dangerous to be threatening the Israeli government at a time when it appears they're facing a range of threats around them?
It absolutely is. Look, Israel is a democracy, the only democracy in the Middle East. The fact that they have their differences on public display is a sign of a healthy democracy. It is absolutely undermining Israel's position. Senator Sanders' statements, Leader Schumer's speech, which was reprehensible, equivocating basically between the Netanyahu government and Hamas, both being obstacles to peace and calling for elections. This is not the place of the United States to make these kinds of statements, certainly not in public, but under no circumstances in my view.
We're nearly out of time, but do you worry about a spreading conflict across the Middle East?
I do, absolutely. Look, there's no question peace is noble and just, but Teddy Roosevelt says that peace is not the goal, just righteousness is. And if you do peace at any cost, which is what they're calling for, certainly on Iran's terms, that could lead to a much more dangerous situation.
Jacob, thank you for your time and your analysis.
Thank you so much, Marshall. Thank you.
I haven't heard him before, AB. Have you heard him before?
I don't think, maybe if I recognize his face, is Jacob, do we know what his last name is?
Oligarchs. He sounds Eastern European. He's American First Policy Institute. I thought it was like related to Gorka. Let me just.
Yeah, I don't think I have heard him before, which is rare because I've heard most people
Director
before.
for Research before Ajinza. Okay, and he was at the Washington Institute, and let me see here. Jihadism, Salafism, Islamic political movements. He received his PhD in Near Eastern Studies at Princeton. Well, thank God he's not a Georgetown guy. Inside the Caliphate's classroom, textbook guidance, literature, and indoctrination methods of the Islamic State, and the politics of quietist Salafism at the Brookings Institute. So he wrote that. He's a Fulbright scholar at UAE. He taught at the Elliott School, George Washington University. He's on the Council for Foreign Relations. Non-resident fellow at the Modern War Institute at West Point. Oh, so maybe some of our friends know him.
Maybe John Spencer knows him.
Yeah, Brandeis and then Harvard.
So yeah, I'm just looking at here. It's who's on there now. Linda McMahon is the chairwoman of the board. Of the Center for the American Worker. Larry Kudlow's on it. He's the vice chair of the board. President and CEO is Brooke Rollins, who used to work for the Trump administration. Chad Wolf, who was, I think he was the interim DHS secretary. Chad Wolf is there. Michael Berry. Catherine Cipher, I don't know who that is. Okay, interesting.
I mean, he made some very good points in there. The fuck it. I would go with the Kipling illusion at the end instead of Teddy, but just gotta pay the dang geld.
Right. Okay, I just had I don't know, it's rubbed a little bit, I don't know. Interesting. The article comes from, this is from today. Let me see here. I'm trying to find a video right before. Go ahead, Civic. If anybody else has their hands, you can chime in. I'm looking for the earlier interview.
Well, I have a point that we were talking about earlier. I'll just put it in there.
Yeah.
One of the things we're talking about is how the rules for thee, not for rules for you, not for me. However the saying goes. Apologies. The whole point is with that. We dealt with that in Iraq. We've seen it in Afghanistan. We see it time and time again whenever we deal with a Western culture active action against a third world culture action of sorts, especially when dealing with Islam. We follow the rules, but the rules are never followed in accordance to us. So we had soldiers that were captured, tortured, women raped, children used as detonation devices and whatnot. They were putting explosives in dead bodies that would then be picked up. So we have all these kinds of issues that are against the so-called Geneva Convention that was set to set parameters for and on something that's ugly to at least have some kind of rule and guidance, which is war. And so we see that we follow those, and whenever we don't, we kind of discipline ourselves, I guess, with some weird sanction or some of the sort. But those rules never seem to be applicable whenever facing the who we are now giving money to protect and defend, and all these different things, like the Palestinians giving them money for they go to prison, but if they give us information, we then support them. And all it does is incentivize more of that behavior. So I just wanted to point out the double standard of that, because that was one of the conversations we had earlier. That's all.
Hey, I just saw this. This just came out.
Welcome back, and we're back with the Fox News Alert. The U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman is in Israel right now as the U.S. works to avoid further escalation in the Middle East. At least one Israeli naval soldier was killed yesterday as the IDF and Hezbollah traded fire across the Israeli border over the weekend. Trey Yinks is live in Tel Aviv with the latest. Trey.
Yeah, hey, Brian, good morning. After Israel launched preemptive strikes against Hezbollah over the weekend, the region is now waiting to see what comes next. The Iran-backed group claimed victory in the exchange of fire on Sunday, and without evidence said they targeted only military positions and fired close to Tel Aviv. The reality is that 2/3 of the rockets and missiles they had prepared to launch were destroyed by the Israeli military. Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah warned of further attacks in the future when he addressed Lebanon from an undisclosed bunker. As the region surveys the aftermath of the events over the weekend, Joint Chiefs Chairman C.Q. Brown is in Israel today for meetings. He spoke privately with Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, I'm told. The top U.S. general's visit comes with American assets spread throughout the region to deter Iran and its proxies from further attacks. With ceasefire talks ongoing in Cairo, once again at the working level, U.S. officials remain hopeful that a deal to end the war in Gaza could de-escalate regional tension. The talks over the weekend were described as constructive, but they were also immediately rejected by Hamas, who says the terms have changed. 325 days into the war, more than 100 Israeli hostages remain inside Gaza, and the Palestinian death toll there among civilians continues to rise. Brian?
Trey, real quick, before we get to General Spalding, is it true that the talks are still on track? This did not affect the talks as extensively as with Hamas?
Yeah, I can tell you Israeli officials are not optimistic about the outcome of these conversations because Hamas is already rejecting what's on the table. They say they want the terms that were set forward in July. Well, now it's August and things have changed. Right. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is not willing to move forward on the Philadelphia corridor, this key strip of land between Egypt and Gaza that is currently at the center of the disagreements.
Understood. Thanks, Trey. Appreciate it. Let's bring in retired U.S. Air Force Brigadier General Rob Spalding. General, your reaction to the preemptive strike first that Israel decided to do over the weekend. As we take a look at this map, I mean, look at the areas in which they hit. They said over 200 targets, 100 jets, and drones. Your reaction to this maneuver?
Well, I think it was a smart thing to do. The Lebanese Hezbollah have a lot more weapons, so I don't think it's going to completely brunt it. But I also want to credit all of our forces in the region. I think that's had a deterrent effect.
Let's take a look at our forces in the region. It's costing us a lot of money, but man, is it impressive. We
Well, I mean, I think the thing that we have to understand is Iran is talking to China, is talking to Russia. They're all talking. What they're talking about is the depletion of our reserves. You don't know this, but the Chinese have been quietly shutting down material that we need to make our weapons. So the Raytheon CEO says we don't go to war without China. And as we expend these munitions here in the regions, if Israel is using a lot of them, Ukraine is using them in Europe, you're going to see us really not be able to respond anymore.
Well, that's the first time I'm hearing this. What elements are you talking about? What metals?
Well, there's super abrasives. There's also materials for making weapons and for making electronics that we use in the military. These things are quietly starting to be shut down, and I think that's going to be a challenge for us going forward because, again, we have typically gone to war in the last 30 years with China as our resource.
I imagine the Pentagon's looking at alternate substitutes to get this elsewhere.
Years to rekindle this. So I mean, this fact that it's good, we stopped the brunt of this attack this time, but guess what? We're not going to have the reserves when it comes in the future.
All right. So things are heating up in the Middle East right today. In 3 years since 13 service members lost their lives in Afghanistan at Abbey Gate, in one of the biggest debacles in history. Your comment on that?
Well, it's just emblematic. We should have known at the time that it was emblematic of the lack of strategy of this administration. 3 years, we could have done a lot with that. We could have, it would have been great that we had a president that listened to one of his generals, because they all testified that they cautioned him against this. He says they never did. We never got to the bottom of it. We also see the other war that's costing us money but not soldiers, and that is the Ukraine war. Ukraine goes into Kursk. They've taken 200 settlements, 2,000 prisoners, yet Russia's still making some progress on the line. How significant was this move into Russia? It's really frightening if you think about it. I mean, we are probably the closest we've been to nuclear war since the Cold War. I think we need to really look at that and look at that incursion and see it for what it is, which is a provocation of Russia, who's in a very extreme nuclear power. Yeah, we'll see. They keep having a red line, and Ukraine keeps pushing that. Thanks so much, General. Appreciate it.
Okay. Just that. I did not realize the whole China and needing materials for nuclear capabilities. I thought that was very interesting.
Well, I'm saying for like electronics and things he was talking about.
Wasn't there something regarding their
reserves, that we won't have reserves in the future.
Just materials that they use.
Material to make weapons.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Absolutely.
Okay, so it's like, that is a problem, right? Okay, 100, somebody just sending a message of 100.
That's potentially a big problem.
That's why, that's why when I saw that interview, hold on, let me close out the interview, sorry. My phone keeps running the story.
But that's why it makes so much sense, and it's going to take, they noted in the interview, it's going to take some time, but it makes sense to, as quickly as possible, decouple our economy and Western economies in general from China, in particular when it comes to essential items, right? We saw the similar situation when it came to COVID, right? Where all these things were in super high demand, and it turned out that much of our supply, and even for some of the pharmaceuticals, whatever, that not directly related to COVID, coming from China. That is not a good idea, right? If you're you should do a combination of onshoring and then sort of what they call ally shoring, right? So between your own country, and America's got a ton of natural resources, not everything, but a ton. Between your own country, in this case our own country, and then closely allied nations, you should try to get all your essentials from there. And if you want to get some tchotchkes from China or whatever, Bangladesh, fine, but you don't want to be reliant on them for rare earth minerals. Or super adhesives or whatever else that you need when it comes to wartime. Because obviously they're not going to be eager to ship it to you.
We should.
Right.
So, have you guys watched Chip Roy playing the body cam footage from the cop and the response to what he said? Have you guys heard that yet? Fred, did you watch that?
Which cop? Which what shooting again?
Did you watch Chip Roy sharing the footage? Hold on.
To the Honorable Chip Roy for 10 minutes.
Hold on. It's about...
Mr. Mills, thank my colleagues here. I thank you gentlemen for testifying here today. And I'd ask my staff they'd put the map up here on the board. And if you would please, the technology folks, would you please play the shooter on route behind President Trump angle video?
Yeah, I saw this. It's good.
Queued up and we start to play it. I'm gonna ask you some questions. I'm gonna start with you, Mr. Bongino. I was trying through the question I'm wrestling with a lot of Americans are wrestling with, which is whether or not the failures here that we're all observing, everybody agrees there was failure. Almost catastrophic failure, and certainly catastrophic for Mr. Comparatore and his family. But was there more? Was there willful blindness here? So if you could cue up the video, that'd be great. They've got that queued up. If they don't, then I'm just going to go ahead and proceed. See beyond the president, you can see the shooter moving across the room. Now, I look at this as someone who is a prosecutor, has worked in the attorney's office, worked in the attorney general's office. Not as someone who is a sniper like Mr. Mills or Mr. Crane, or in Secret Service. But to be very clear, the perimeter, the building he shot from is outside the perimeter. And the video we can see him clearly just a mere 130 yards away. So here's the setup that I want to ask. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Martino. Do you believe that you can just chalk up to mere incompetence that the Secret Service did not attend the 9 o'clock meeting for scheduling purposes? They literally just didn't attend. Can you chalk up, and let me go down the list and jump in. Can you chalk up to mere incompetence the conversations about the communications that we talked about before, where you didn't have a body present and they were using the cell phone, and they did not retrieve the radios as Mr. Higgins has reported? Can you chalk it up to mere incompetence that they identified crooks about an hour ahead of time, and that President Trump was never removed from the stage? They didn't delay, they didn't hold him back, they didn't remove him from the potential danger. That the perimeter did not include the buildings around over here, and to the extent, should there have been a perimeter that was farther out, to the extent the perimeter wasn't farther out, they at least make sure the building wasn't covered. Is that just incompetence? Is it just incompetence that there was no drone being flown and the drone was turned down by the Secret Service? Was it just incompetence that the shooter had a drone, as the FBI director testified in front of the House Judiciary Committee, that he literally had flying within a couple hundred feet of the stage the same day, mere hours before the shooting? Is it just incompetence, what we're hearing now about the whistleblower saying that there were no canines? Was it just incompetence that there wasn't sufficient policing along the security border? Was it just incompetence that there was allegedly an abandoning of the post due to heat? That there was supposed to be someone on top of the roof and that they didn't get on the roof because it was too hot? Is it just incompetence that there was additional security requests turned down according to the memos that we saw out of Senator Josh Hawley, and encouraging agents not to request additional requests? And was it just incompetence what we saw with respect to the police body footage, which I'll play here in just a second if we can cue out the police body footage video, where you've got the local police talking about what they said to the Secret Service? If y'all could play that video real quick, and then I want you to respond.
Body's good. I like it works. Hold him, because the guy over here. I told him that the Secret Service. I told him that. Who's that? I told him the guys over here. I don't want that to show up. What? No. We're not. Call the one. Okay, that's good. Thank you all. I told him the guys over here.
Can you respond to that? Can you respond to that question? Because that's what the American people want to know.
You know, Congressman, if you had just ended with your first statement and said, well, we may have screwed up the perimeter, you could maybe attribute it to ignorance. Layered incompetence always means intense, correct? So, I'll give you an example. You're at a mall parking lot, it's 97 degrees, and you leave a kid in there, and you close the door. Did they intend to kill the kid? Probably not. But how stupid do you have to be to do that? So, in Secret Service training, you're basically taught a ring-based system. Don't think of it as rings. Think of it as a three-dimensional ring, like a bubble with rings. So you got this circle, but it's three-dimensional above and below. In that outer ring, again, this is Secret Service 101, Charlie Brown Encyclopedia stuff. This isn't like advanced level PD.
Charlie Brown Encyclopedia.
In that outer ring, you have police officers. That outer ring is out to about 1,000 yards.
You gotta love Blondino.
I love him.
Proficient sniper can hit. Why was the perimeter set? Again, absolute total incompetence. But then factor in the other things, and I just want to add a few more. How is it that a counter surveillance unit whose actual job is to detect, to counter surveillance, that's what they do. They're the best at what they do. We asked the question during the conversation we had earlier. How is it that they missed this guy roaming around with the police officers clearly using their good law enforcement instincts that we've got a problem? The answer is because they weren't there. Is that incompetence or is that shut? No. How did you not have a roof line 130 yards away secured when you're taught day one in Secret Service training that the effective range of a really quality sniper is out to 1,000 yards? How did you not have a drone? Not only did you not have a drone, again, this is when we get to the shutting the door at 97 degrees and pretending you didn't know. It was offered. They offered you a drone.
It's unforgivable. And just think of the rings quickly, and I'll wrap this up. So in the outer ring, you have police officers, you have counter surveillance, and you have a protective intelligence team. Protective intelligence team is trained to go and find threats. They miss. There's no counter surveillance team. The cops catch it, but because the comms break down, we miss. In that middle perimeter, you have what they call post standers. Post standers they're not DTD agents. They're field office agents. They're not Donald Trump detail agents. Those guys were not even Secret Service. They were HSI, most of them, were great guys and were fantastic. But that's not what they do. If you grab me as a former Secret Service guy and said, hey, Dan, can you go do a Homeland Security investigation? I said, no, that's not what I learned. We are training Secret Service agents to do protection so we don't have to use other entities that don't do protection. So that's the middle perimeter. So that breaks down. The inner perimeter, as you just saw, I'm glad you played that video. Envision that as what we would call the shift, the body guys, right? He's got a shift around them and supervisors. Everyone missed that guy crawling across the roof when he defeated the external, the middle, and the internal perimeter. You shut the door in 97 degrees. I'm sorry. Layered intent, layered incompetence like that is absolutely intent. I've got another question on that, but I just want to ask you, Mr. Prince, real quick. Do you have any relatively short comment on that? Can you dismiss all of this as sheer incompetence?
The question I want to have answered is,
That's Eric Prince.
if other counter-sniper agents, officers, saw...
Hold on.
person
Commercial.
laying in a prone position with a rifle pointed at the President of the United States, do they have authorization to take a shot immediately, or do they have to get permission? Because if the Secret Service wasn't there and they were laying at a stakeout for a bank robbery, would they have to get permission if they saw means and intent to murder someone? I don't understand why any of the other officers didn't engage sooner.
Mr. Schaefer, do you have any comment on that in terms of the engagement and the rules of engagement that were in place?
Yeah, absolutely. I can clarify that a little bit. So as a law enforcement sniper, we have a lot of responsibilities and inherited flexibility. One of those flexible procedures or statuses that we incur is known as compromised authority. Compromised authority in the law enforcement sense basically lays out the requirements for a deadly force response. And in that point in time, based on all the prerequisites that were identified and all the checks in the boxes that were made, Mr. Crook sort of met that level or that threshold.
I'll let some experts on that subject follow up on that. I think there's probably some more follow-up there. I just want to ask one last question in my last minute of time. Mr. Bongino, we talked about this before. I have seen credible information, the extent to which the shooter had significant explosives that were sophisticated. Beyond that, you expect some 20-year-olds to put together. And then he had sophisticated detonation devices on his person, or just a sophisticated detonation device. And importantly, that his digital footprint is completely MIA. That his digital footprint is missing. And that how can a 20-year-old in today's time have no digital footprint? So do you have any thoughts on that, any comments on that? And I'll read my last question.
Well, 4 years of doing protective intelligence investigations with the Secret Service interviewed probably hundreds of people who have credibly threatened our protectees. I've never seen anything like it. If you would have told me it was a 60-year-old guy who lived most of his life without a computer and for the last 10 years has been planning this, hard to believe, but digestible. You're telling me a 20-year-old kid who's grown up in the digital era figured this out when he was, 13? To never get an online presence? We've seen nothing. Nothing. We're now 6 weeks in. There's not a Facebook photo. You know, it's incredible. We know every single thing about these shooting incidents when there's a political narrative to be had by the media and the other stuff. We do. Would you know who his girlfriend was? Sadly, you know everything about these people. We know nothing about this guy. And sophisticated explosives. We have this massive law enforcement bureaucracy. No one's got him with an online search history in a library saying, how do I build this? He's 20 years old. It just defies logic. I can tell you, again, 4 years doing these exact investigations, never, ever seen or heard anything like this in my life.
Thank you so much.
So you can set up fast, gamer-ready Spectrum Internet to end
So bad. It's so bad.
It's insane how bad it is.
There's no way
there was
there's 0.
How can any one of us erase our like, it's nearly impossible to erase your footprint.
He was working with somebody or some entity. There's no question about it. There's no question about it. Will we ever know the truth? Will we ever know the truth? Probably not, but there's no way that a kid set up explosives and sophisticated explosives without help. Now, it could have been YouTube help. It could have been the Encyclopedia of Anarchist help. It could have been, I want to be an Antifa, guy help.
Right.
But somebody helped him do this. He didn't have the capability to research and develop explosive systems and defeating, even with all the negligence, and I'll stay away from the conspiracy theories for now. We can bring Ash up to those. But,
where's Ash?
I don't know. You never know where Ash is. But he's probably fighting with some dissent somewhere.
I'm calling him right now. Come. That is hilarious.
But it's not feasible
to do all that threat anonymously.
It's just not.
It doesn't.
You did hear that like 5 of the Secret Service people that worked that day have been now put on suspended leave. And
well, now it's the cover-up, right? They got to cover up the cover.
Yeah, and apparently there was an order that was given to them prior to that day. Do not order any additional assets at all. Nothing. Do not request anything more than we're giving you for that day. Now, I'm not saying that they planned a conspiracy.
Right.
You can trump shot, but they did the bare minimum. The bare minimum.
It's look, the Bongino on his show today, he has a whistleblower saying that they were engaged with the Secret Service was engaged or investigating the J6 bomber. And 2 hours after they were interviewing people, they were told to stand down. And his theory is that this was plan A, right? If everybody didn't break into the Capitol and turn it into a mess, somebody was going to turn this into a mess by saying that there were bombs there. They got 3 things. They've got the Coke incident, they've got the J6 incident, the Secret Service, and they're wiping out of all their techs. The same day as J6, they had a software upgrade. Okay. It just doesn't work. And now they have this issue. And the goal is going to be, so we got to protect sources and methods. We got to hide this from the public, and my grandchildren will be asking questions about this, God willing, one day, because that's when it'll come out. They will never tell the public what really went on in any of these 3 situations. And that poor woman that resigned, and I don't feel that particularly bad for her. She was incompetent and was given a job that she had no business being in, this Cheeto. She's the fall guy, right? She knew all of what was going on, or she was told this was an operation or what have you, and you're not going to, this is above you.
The fall guy Fred had his head blown off on that roof.
Well, yeah, that's obvious, but internally, that woman was put through the ringer by the boys, if you will, and the girls that made some nasty decisions behind closed doors that they thought perhaps was in the best interest of the country long term, and they got a guy killed, and they got 2 guys killed.
Yeah, I found a really comprehensive video analysis that I put up in the net that was very well done. where you can actually see crooks getting on the roof, and then they flew a drone, on the path that he took, running across the roof to get into position. You can see him throw his backpack up there in the whole 9 yards. And then when you couple that with the testimony, the after incident report of the ESU units, the local Butler, Pennsylvania group, as well as the adjacent county snipers, and what they were doing and what they were told and where they were at in their positions, it's not, how to say this, it's not unreasonable to just believe that the local police department was taking advantage of the local police forces, by creating a security perimeter that was so close. If I was outside that security perimeter that they set up, I could take a slingshot, and hit Trump in the head from the fence where the Secret Service perimeter ended and where local police were to pick up the security on the other side of it, especially with the AGR building. But the two snipers that were up on that second floor were told by their supervisor to conceal themselves, to set their rifles back, so you couldn't see their rifles, and to take up concealed positions in the second floor. There was none of this business about they were on the sloped roof or the roof was too hot or this, that, and the other. They were specifically instructed to do that, whereas you can see on the flip side of that, Secret Service counter sniper teams are on the roof, highly visible, usually very, very visible at these types of events, because they want any potential threat to see them, see that there is a visible counter sniper capability available. So, you couple all these things together. Anyway, just take a look at that video if you're interested, and I thought it was very well done.
Yeah, cool. I got a comment about the debates here. I've been doing a little research. But first, let me make sure nobody's talking right now. I can't hear them.
No, it's quiet. Go ahead. And I see Matt was waiting for a second. Could you hold on, Civic? Let Matt go real quick. Sorry, Matt, go ahead. Matt, you there?
Civic had his hand up before I got pulled up. So
you sure? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Civic. Sorry.
Well, no, go ahead, because I'm going to actually shift back to the debate for a second. If you had a comment on this, keep it on the same topic. About the assassination attempt?
Well, actually, I have two different comments going on right now. One related to this comment, that it is definitely a three-letter involvement. There's no way you can do black ops without having it done, and especially since the autopsy of it and everything happened so fast, the true identity of their operative, they wanted to keep it concealed. So I can definitely see it being an inside job somewhere down the line. And to cause plausible deniability, they go way deep, where they go, okay, I don't want to know the details, just get it done so I have plausible deniability. We've seen it everywhere. If you actually pay attention to history and all these other things going on. So it's very highly plausible that people made sure that this was going to happen, and if he failed, he was going to lose his life, and he failed and lost his life in the process. And then I have a second one, but that deals with our minerals and stuff like that, so I can wait on that one, unless you want me to continue.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, and then with the second one, with all the minerals and everything else we have, we are fully capable to be self-efficient. The only thing stopping us from doing that is the fact that big government has pushed out possibly doing our industry. So that's the reason why we're set back on being able to do it without China or anything like that, is because we are anti-infrastructure right now, where we're not building the material in-house. We have the material in the ground. We know where it's at. Everything. The only thing is we much rather
rely on China because it's cheaper. Well, the only reason why it's cheaper is because we tax the shit out of everything we do. So,
it's a little
we do
deeper.
have it.
It's a little deeper than that. It's we don't want to destroy our environment while we can destroy Afghanistan's environment, where there's a tremendous amount of rare earth minerals. We don't want to destroy Colorado. Hey, I don't like destroying Colorado. I love Colorado. I don't want to destroy Nevada. That's and we don't want to destroy Nevada. We don't. Here, go ahead, Faith. Nevada. That's and we don't want to pay Nevada, and we don't. Here, go ahead, Faith. I apologize, Faith. Take over.
We're already getting destroyed in Nevada just because of Australian and Canadian mining conglomerates, and we put U.S. It's not just about China, right? And Nevada's a good example of that, Fred. So mostly Australian and Canadian mining conglomerates came into Nevada and absolutely took the steal, and it's kind of sucks because the American mining companies all went out of business for the most part.
That's a good point. American lands being exploited by foreign mining companies. Yeah.
It's just kind of a thing I was going to make, like, I'm totally back on whatever he's saying, but it's not just China. It's like our politicians said, people used to say things like America first, people didn't like that, or hey, buy American, people didn't like that. Where these kind of like, Democrat Tommy Dick sucks have this idea of like, let's just go anything but American. Not buy American, not even let's do fair trade or anything. It's like, let's just do anything but American. And it's kind of annoying. I'm done. I'm going back to shutting up for a bit. All right, who is next?
Sorry. Civic, go ahead.
Yeah, cool. It's nice to have like a different comment. Like Fred, you're so funny, Fred, man. I like your commentary on like pushing back on people. It's pretty cool. You got pushed back on a little bit there, which was pretty good, about foreign mining companies exploiting the U.S. Did you want to comment on that at all before I get back to the debate discussion?
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. They're all regulated to death where they can't do anything anyhow. So even if they're trying to mine in Nevada or wherever we have minerals in New Mexico, this administration specifically puts the clamps on them. And because it's so expensive to mine in the United States, and what I mean is expensive, not in terms of money, although it's very expensive in terms of money because of the labor force here and the way the OSHA works and things like that, which we want to protect people, we understand that. It's so expensive in time. The amount of time that it takes to get the approvals to do things like mining that are aggressive to the environment, make it incompatible for a company to turn a profit. Whereas you can go to Namibia, where they do a tremendous amount of rare earth mineral and uranium mining and things like that. You pay off a few people and you get kids 13 to 15 to come work for $1 a day, and there's no regulatory problems. And then you just mine and do what you got to do. And that has been, Jake Novak put a post to Senator Blumenthal. Maybe you shouldn't bring up wars. And Blumenthal doesn't mind wars as long as they're in Israel or in the Ukraine. He doesn't care about wars. He likes wars as long as they're not in America. Same thing with mining. We like mining as long as it's in Malaysia.
Yeah, but they could have done a ton of mining in Afghanistan and they left it all for the Chinese. Why? They left all the natural minerals.
That was
I understand. If we had full access, we're paying them $90 million a month right now, literally, in suitcases, dropping off the cash. You got $85 billion worth of our trucks. I can tell you this, in Israel to buy a car is so expensive. had Israel gotten the option to even pay half of the price of what the trucks were in Afghanistan, they would have written a check to the United States and been like, hey, we'll take all your pickup trucks. We've got all these kids that want to buy cars. Cars are literally unaffordable in Israel. It's just so expensive. It's like 150,000 shekels for a regular car. Forget about like anything like an SUV. And I just don't get it. They would have found a way. Forget about Elon Musk, like fly them out or something. Just makes no sense if you could have sold it. What?
Yeah, they could fly the big transports out, you know, with all the rare earth minerals, you know? They don't even have
to... just at least pick up the minerals. If we're going to give them 90 million, say, but China was having a problem, right, with getting stuff out of there now? I think they can't handle the Taliban and all that stuff.
Well, it's also difficult mining, from what I understand, in Afghanistan, you know, from a skirt perspective and all that, so it's not the easiest access to these minerals.
We could have found a way at $90 million a month that we've been giving them since the Bidens pulled out of there.
Yeah. Well, Fred, also, the world's most polluting mine, right, is just dumping into the Arctic. It's on U.S. soil. It's a Canadian mining conglomerate. It's a Canadian company. But the thing is, they have a deal with the tribes. So it's on tribal land. World's most polluting mine, man. It's just outrageous. This is not... the fact it's being exploited on tribal land in the U.S. by a Canadian company just drives me insane, pisses me off. They're just polluting the hell out of it. But I guess you got to do what you got to do. I mean, at least we implement some safer practices. But anyway, and start getting ripped off, right?
It just
all right,
makes
look,
no
guys,
sense.
I found out some really interesting stuff. I was diving into the debate for a bit. It looks like after this second debate, which is really a first debate with Harris, sticking to the same schedule, they would have a debate in New York City with Margaret Brennan and Nora O'Donnell as the moderators. It's already been agreed to.
Oh no, Margaret Brennan? She's
What
the
date
worst.
is that, Sarah?
Huh?
What date would that be?
The date is to be announced, but it will be following. That's just like what they agreed to with Biden, right? But that's kind of what...
Don't look at how Margaret Brennan interviewed Netanyahu.
So many people in this world. It's unbelievable. Honestly, Clubhouse has... I guess I've gotten conditioned by Clubhouse people to enjoy filming them, recording them more because it's more personal, because it's like you have ongoing feuds with people. On X, I don't really know any of the speakers. Oh.
Yeah, the honeymoon's over. DNC is over. The honeymoon's over for her. It's over.
Yeah, but
It's ruling the Biden-Harris issue because Biden has the plausible deniability of the fact that he can't remember how to tie his own shoes.
No, but the thing is, like, and I'm asking honestly to everybody, and ask everybody that's around you, what has Kamala Harris done that you like that she as VP, and what?
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
He also announced today, Shauna, that he wants to, he will have another branch of the military formed, and it will be called it will be Space Force National Guard. I don't know what that does to anything or anybody, but I think he's out of his mind.
Oh, dude, I hope he's just one to protect the space right above America. How awesome would that be?
But how do you get Bob the Builder from Omaha, Nebraska, who's a plumber, who does the National Guard on weekends? How are you going to shoot his ass up to the moon, bro?
How are you going to not do it at that point? That sounds awesome.
What's up,
So,
Raj?
Jay, are you saying,
Jeffy, how
are you,
sir? Hope you're doing well.
Donna?
sorry, Olra, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Just saying hey to Jay. I didn't mean to interrupt. Go back to it.
So are you saying that he's adding a title to the space thing, or it's a secondary under the Space Force?
I believe it's a secondary under the Space Force, but Shona, is it even a reality that we're gonna get some plumber from Nebraska in the Space Force?
Well, I would think that, you said it was the Space Force what, on guard?
National
I think
Guard.
that National Guard, so I think it would be a whole different division of the National Guard, right? Because federal, National Guard, each state has an.
Glad I'm actually thankful Lion helped me find this house because the way our bathroom is set up is in our room, so I have to go that far to go to the bathroom.
So did you use the PSR test?
I hope you feel better, thank you, baby. Well, so what ended up happening, this is how I found out that I had it. The baby yesterday, the youngest, about 7 o'clock, I called Lion, like I'm in distress. He had to make a run, and I called him and I FaceTimed him. I'm like, look at the baby. The baby's eyes were so swollen that they were damn near shut and like just watering. And I'm like, I don't know what happened. I'm like, the only thing different is I gave him a new decongestant, so I was thinking he was having an allergic reaction.
Decongestant!
So he met me at the pediatric urgent care with the baby, and of course I'm already starting to feel like crap. So when we get back to see the pediatrician, they took his vitals and stuff, and they're like, it's not an allergic reaction, but they went ahead and gave him Zyrtec just to be on the safe side. The doctor wasn't. So Adrian, it's a multi-symptom decongestant, but the baby he's almost 4. So the medicine is for 4 and up.
Telling these fucking perverts how old the kids is.
Well, we know who Adrian is.
You already saying?
But anyway.
No, that ain't the same age.
had a 10-year-old that's on DR.
So anyway.
I did.
So yeah, you did. Yeah. So long story short, I went ahead and had them test him for flu and COVID just to be on the safe side. Come back, and of course he's positive. And my youngest, y'all know, because y'all hear him all the time, he's always under me. So I know I have it. So I get home, and I'm like, the body aches just ensue. Get the baby to bed, and then this morning I wake up, and Lion's like, are you okay? And I'm like, I feel like shit. So I ordered a home test, and I took it, and y'all, it didn't even take 30 seconds for it to come up positive, so, yeah.
I kind of expect that for families who got, like, kids, like, more than
yeah.
Especially going to school and stuff. Soon as school go back, you already know it's sick time.
Nasty ass kid.
Them passed a bill to where they are a refuge for gender
I get it. I mean, it just I cringe when she laughs when nobody else does. But I'm voting for you anyway. It doesn't matter.
I appreciate you, Orod, but I declined the nomination. There's much better people on the stage right now that can do a better job than me, Shauna, Pardon, Akima, David.
Don't you dare.
You have one vote of record, Jay. One. Make it 2. Jay gets my vote as well. You have votes, Jay. 2 total.
If elected.
That's more than Kamala. 2-0, Jay. Jay wins.
Hey, I couldn't handle that responsibility. I tell you what, I would do everything I could to empower women in this country. That's what I would definitely do.
I agree, and I think a woman should be president. Not sure Kamala should be, but I mean, we're ready for a woman. There's no doubt about it.
Jay, Kamala have both been in the same industry.
And we can slice and dice her career and all that other stuff. But what's wrong with Kamala? Let's just keep it real.
Adrian,
what's the issue with this woman?
that bastard.
I have a question for everybody in the room. If Biden resigned 6 months ago in the primary, would
they're
you
gonna
come out
totally
the winner
kick me.
if there was actual people voting?
Jay and Kamala have
No.
both been in the same industry. High class.
Jay?
She's an actress. She's got no policies, nothing.
No, she wouldn't. And I tell you, that's one of the issues I do have with the Democrats, is how she's anointed. I find it, for me at least, interesting that Obama took a few days to endorse her. He didn't come right out and say she's the one. I think he had to be coaxed into his endorsement. You know, and I also, I'm not a poll person. I don't believe in polls. I think they're bullshit. But the 3 polls I saw today, she's winning nationally between 3 and 6 points. So,
Free debate.
oh, dude,